Okidogi is one of the new Pokemon introduced with the release of the Teal Mask DLC, Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Okidogi might just seem like a generic poison fighting type, but this Pokemon has some traits that all come together to create a pretty strong Pokemon that can fill a unique niche. We have already talked about Ogerpon and its different forms, as well as Sinistcha. These videos will be linked down below if you haven't seen those and are interested. Today we will be analyzing the potential of Okidogi in competitive singles and how it will most likely be used. Keep in mind that the metagame is still fresh and some things might be subject to change. At first glance, Okidogi might not seem all that impressive. It's a poison fighting type which is weaker and significantly slower than Sinistcha, which is amazing in the meta right now. Okidogi's stats are not amazing, but they're good for the niche it can fill that Sinistcha can actually not. Okidogi's most impressive stat is its great base attack stat of 128. Okidogi is very slow, however, but it does have some good bulk to it, making up a bit for that low speed stat. It can make good use of this bulk too, as poison fighting is not actually that bad of a defensive typing. As an all-out offensive wall breaker, this Pokemon is severely outclassed by Sinistcha, but does have its advantages like having X2 knockoff to do more damage to ghost types like Dragapult and Goldago, and even Ice Punch to nail Lander's T on the switch, which is especially potent with its ability Guard Dog. It's not really worth using over Sinistcha as an offensive wall breaker, in my opinion at least. But Okidogi is actually very solid as a slow, bulky sweeper. Okidogi has X to bulk up to raise its attack and defense by one stage, which fits very well in a bulky sub sweep. Okidogi also has X to Drain Punch as a step move, which allows it to remain healthy and make better use of its bulk. As a secondary step move, it can use Gong Shot or Poison Jab. I would normally recommend Gong Shot for the increase in power. Poison Jab is a much better fit on a bulky Settle Sweeper, as you don't really need that power boost all that much. Okidogi also has the ability Toxic Chain, which has a 30% chance to badly poison the target after Okidogi uses an attack. This pairs very well with its poison attacks, as you have a 30% chance to either leave it with a toxic or a poison status. Not to mention that this 30% chance to toxic the target also applies to all of its other moves, which makes switching into this Pokemon not as easy. The toxic chance means that Okidogi can also chip down its checks over time early on in the match before setting up, which can make a huge difference later on. Okidogi also has Guard Dog as it has an ability which raises its attack by one stage if an intimidated user switches in, and it can also not be forced out by facing moves like Whirlwind. This ability improves the matchup against Pokemon like Lander's T and Ting-Lu. Lander's T in particular can take both of Okidogi's stabs and lower its attack, but with Guard Dog, Okidogi can take advantage of Lander's T switching in and even take it out if it uses Ice Punch. While it can freely set up and heal back all the damage Ting-Lu is doing, as it cannot use Whirlwind to stop Okidogi's sweep. Personally though, I would prefer Toxic Chain, as it has more practical uses, but Guard Dog is not bad on this Pokemon all things considered. As mentioned earlier, Okidogi also has X2 knockoff. This is a great coverage option to hit most checks for neutral damage and hit the otherwise problematic ghost types for super effective damage, not to mention that you will be able to cripple this Pokemon by knocking off their item. Other notable options are High Horsepower to hit poison types like Toxapex for super effective damage, and Taunt to take advantage of passive Pokemon like Toxapex and Amoonguss. Substitute can even be used to take advantage of Pokemon like Garganacl, Amoonguss and Slogging Galar. Okidogi can even check and set up on some common Pokemon like Gambit, Iron Valiant and Meowscarada. Okidogi also greatly benefits from Terra. Defensive Terra types like Water can allow it to easily turn the tables on Pokemon like Great Tusk, Excalibur, Dragonite, Corviknight and Lander's T. Okidogi does have to be wary of unaware Pokemon like Dondozo and Clodsire, as well as checks like Zapdos, Moltres and Toxapex depending on its moveset. Okidogi is also vulnerable to strong special attackers if it has been damaged, as its special bulk is not that high. This can however be patched up if you use Okidogi on offensive teams with dual screens users like Alolan and Ninetales to make this Pokemon even bulkier, allowing for easier setup opportunities. Overall, Okidogi seems like a solid slow bulky sweeper that can be quite difficult to stop under the right circumstances. I think it has potential to stay in the OU tier, and I cannot see it dropping lower than the UU tier in the worst case scenario. What do you think about Okidogi. Do you think it has potential in the OU tier? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you want to see more content like this, you can let me know by liking the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.